Wolf Wisdom is all about emotional development of children and teens, and November is my chance to use this infographic, the fruit tree of emotional growth. Emotional growth is achieved through the emotional connections we make over the years of our growing up. But like Deborah McNamara says, maturation is spontaneous, not inevitable. So early family life and early school life must provide a good environment. In fact, as you will hear, the sweet fruits of emotional development, which are responsible, productive, and generous adults, these fruits are only achieved when the tree roots are deep because they've been well tended. These are the roots of attachment outlined by the Gordon Neufeld Institute. And to frame this correctly, attachment is a preeminent need throughout life. And with sufficient emotional connection, we become more emotionally open, emotionally available, and emotionally responsive to each other. So I'm going to zoom in to the roots of attachment in this infographic. During infancy, our babies are in close physical proximity to us so much of the time that their senses are not only keenly aware of their parent by smell, sight, sound of voice, but you could also say through style of touch, in how a parent tends to hold and move their child, and tempo of touch, like rocking, walking, playing, or maybe singing and big muscle movement all at once. Sensory life is building on familiarity, but also the adult's responsiveness to what the child is sensing. It's notable that at this very early beginning, an infant's sensory perception is growing into their awareness. So we adults help them organize sensations, just like we organize their emotions early on. But if we don't tune in to the sensory nuance for whatever reason, maybe the infant is extremely overly sensitive to this world in ways we don't quite understand, which occurs with autism. Then sensory overload occurs until the adult can somehow pay attention to what's most important to this child's functioning. I just want to use this as, a mental note, because sensory issues interfere with healthy attachment and emotional growth. In fact, sensory oversensitivity equals emotional reactivity. They're the same thing. However, attachment is an eternally hopeful process because attachment combines tuning into the child's needs and also regulating their emotions. So again, a quote from Deborah McNamara, attachment isn't always the problem, but attachment is always the solution. Okay, so back to this infographic. Constant proximity of child and parent is simply not possible past age 5 or 6 when we send our kids off to school. And if they are only attached to us through their senses, they won't have sufficient emotional readiness to be away from us most of the day. But as the Neufeld Institute outlines, there are 6 ways of attaching. Our senses is just the first one. Second is noticing sameness. Third, feelings of belonging and loyalty. Fourth, feeling significant. Fifth, feeling loved. And sixth, wanting to be fully known. This is a fabulous framework to use because each mode or way of attaching unfolds sequentially over the first 6 years of life. Even at school, we can continue to tend these roots of attachment to strengthen them. So I'm just going to return to senses again. In a totally new environment like school, kids will fall back into being sensory sensitive. In fact, all of us can feel we don't belong or cannot connect to others when the place doesn't smell right to us, or the sights and sounds are overwhelming. Maybe the pace of people moving about is too fast. Our senses will automatically put us on guard. We feel separate from others in this strange context. We feel like we don't belong. And hypersensitivity interferes with our attention and our ability to think. And it can disrupt our body so we can't hear properly, and maybe our stomach is upset. So some of us will have difficulty eating lunch in the group. I often see that with young kids at school, since the smells, sounds, and movement are too much for the rest and digest mechanism to work. And if we don't know enough about sensory sensitivity, it's easy to assume that kids are willfully not listening or they're misbehaving. We might label them a drama queen, and we don't have enough patience. All right, so here is a second way of attaching. Sameness is that second mode. In as many ways as possible, engage the senses of this child to notice the many ways they are similar to us. You are wearing my favorite color, you might say. Your shoes look like mine. And I love music too. These statements don't have to be deeply meaningful, just relational. Pop culture provides many short quips to use with teens for acknowledging sameness. Simply saying, like, agree, you got it, I like the way you think. That expresses sameness very quickly. The goal is to share evidence of this new mode of attaching. Children will emulate those they accept sameness with. They will tend to agree with us, take our point of view, repeat our words, follow our directions, maybe use our expressions or even walk like us. And this next mode of attaching is belonging and loyalty. These go together. So if we work on belonging, then loyalty will follow. We promote feelings of belonging when we say things like, I chose you for my class. I care about you. I missed you. You come up with good ideas. And when we recognize strong emotions as legitimate, we also promote belongingness. So we might say, that is frustrating. That is alarming. Yes, that is a lonely feeling. I feel that too. Children who need our help with belonging will have already been forced to tolerate not fitting in, losing face, feeling betrayed, losing arguments, particularly if no one is willing to take their side. We promote belonging when we continue to express how this child fits in through sameness. So praise their attributes or even recognize the good person that they're trying to be and their importance to us, their importance to other adults or peers at school, importance to certain activities or routines in the class. And when we stand up for a child during an incident, or at least listen fully to their side of the story and connect with their feelings, rather than get stuck on their impulsive words and actions, then we cement the belongingness into loyalty. So we might say, I understand that. I hear that. I see your strong feelings. I like to hear what you think. I like to see what you make. I know you like fairness, so let's figure this out. I will wait for you. I will listen to you. These are very strong loyalty statements. And we have to say these out loud. So a child or teen feels belonging and loyalty again and again. We can't leave it unsaid. So if attachment roots are growing as they should, then feelings of significance should be apparent at age 4, because that's the fourth way to attach. Feelings of significance create personal agency. So we should hear kids say, I can try and I want to try. This is hard, but I can do it. If this energy to do and try seems to be missing, then the rule is to work backwards in development. Development is about readiness, so we can work backwards. And here is a quick 3-point diagnostic test to figure out which modes to work on, to go backward and strengthen, to give more attention to. So the first quick diagnostic point, if sensory issues are still a problem, then we have to tune in more carefully to the sensory sensitivities, and parents can often help us do that with an individual child. 2, if there is poor acceptance of the teacher as the leader, then more sameness statements will help. And 3rd, if a child is not well enough aligned with the teacher to follow, listen, and cooperate, then more belonging and loyalty statements from the teacher will help. Feelings of significance will follow when kids feel worthy of protection and comfort, because they have often experienced their teacher communicating, you are delightful. And each student has confidence their teacher understands them and will stand up for them. All right, the 5th way of attaching, love follows. But this is not a goal of school. Teachers are often called mom or dad by young children. But, and this is evidence that there is a strong feeling there, but it's certainly not the goal of a school. At home, it's so wonderful when children and teens say, I love you. This is heartwarming evidence of attachment. This doesn't mean that all problem behavior will simply melt away, but it does mean we have maximized the context necessary to cultivate emotional growth in this child. And we can work on maintaining this relationship. So the final and last way of attaching is the sixth way, being fully known to others. So just to remind us that this is not only about child emotional development, because attachment is truly about the journey of human development. So wanting to be fully known to others is the ingredient of our longest lasting and most meaningful relationships. So love and being known are part of the self-actualized person we are all growing to become over a lifetime. Those are the 6 modes. Those are the roots of attachment. And I hope you get a sense that attachment is a concept, yes, but it's also a pretty comprehensive theory. It's also a relational philosophy for raising and teaching kids, and it's a method of emotional growth, plus a diagnostic tool for examining emotional development. So all of that makes it so interesting for me. I hope it does for you. To sum up this metaphor, there are 6 ways for kids to attach with parents, extended family, and other significant adults like teachers. So when children struggle with sensory oversensitivity, or the attachment roots are too shallow, kids will lack confidence and agency to really take part in their own learning. Deeper roots means confident, emotionally resilient kids that become amazing adults. You can find all the Wolf Wisdom deep dives like this one on my YouTube channel. Just search Devin Wolf, Wolf Wisdom. And you can also find blogs and more at wolfewisdom.ca.